Okay, guys. Hello. Sorry about that. Don't know what was going on. It was telling me the orientation of my phone was all messed up. So here we are. We're going to be making vanilla cakes. I am like in a high stress situation right now because I know that my friend Rachel is going to come up with something amazing. I already know that she's probably going to be doing something 3D for this cake off. I am not doing anything 3D carved. I am going for a tiered cake. So I am so nervous because we have this huge cake off and all of you guys are going to get to vote on it. And I just really feel like I'm dropping the ball here. So, one of these stipulations of this cake off is everything has to be real cake. And that's something that is very tricky. And it also, I believe we said it has to be at least a foot in height. So, I can't tell you guys what exactly it is that I'm doing for the cake because I can't let Rachel know what I'm doing for this. And she's always watching my streams, so I need to be sneaky. And I will get to all of those questions and stuff in a second. I'm gonna get these cakes in the oven, and then I will answer all those questions. So right now I'm just making my classic vanilla cake. Sorry, that was very loud. So this is where I feel like a lot of people have, sorry, not a lot of people. I feel Rachel has a huge advantage over me because she has a whole staff that's able to make the cakes for her. And I have to do it all on my own. So that is one of the things that she definitely has a one-up on me for. Now you guys know I love my KitchenAid. This is one of the few things that I make without my KitchenAid. Alrighty, let's get that oil. I'm legitimately nervous. Like this feels more like feels like I'm on the Food Network or something, and I'm like in a high stakes competition. Now this was supposed to be for my 40,000 subscriber video, but as we know, that ship has passed. So possibly maybe I'll say it's for 45,000. I think we're really close to that. It's not really a rounded number though, so. Okay, put my vanilla in here, I've got my sugar, I've got my eggs, and now we gotta get the vegetable oil in there. You could easily sub this with coconut oil as well, but honestly, the fat types in here, I never seem to taste a difference. 2 cups. So because this has to be at least a foot in height, I'm going for small but tall. That's the plan. I even purchased these 2 new cake pans. The reason I did that is I know Rachel is a huge carver. I know she's probably, if she wants small cakes, she's gonna carve them. But when you don't have the luxury of, you know, having so much cake all the time around you in bulk, you have to save. So that's one of the things that's really working against me in this. Because for her, she can make like a giant slab cake and it's not that detrimental. But for me, if I were to do a slab cake and then I were to carve all of that out, I'd be losing so much ingredients, so much time from having to make that massive cake. So I know she's gonna go the 3D card route. I just know it. So I gotta, and she is like the queen of tiered cakes. So I know she's probably gonna go for the structure. And I've gotta beat her in a different way. I wish this were a cake taste challenge because I feel that I might have a chance because I could come up with something amazing. But obviously when you guys vote, you won't know what it tastes like, so we can't actually do that. Okay, dry ingredients. Now technically when I do this, I always make it a one bowl type of cake, but I needed to have all the ingredients ready, so I did not. And I am one of those fools that does not have table salt on here. I always like to use table salt for this, but unfortunately I don't have it. A little bit of salt. And let's do our buttermilk. Now you guys know, if you watch my videos, one of the substitutes for buttermilk is to just take regular milk and then you put a couple teaspoons of lemon juice. But when I'm looking for, they're really, I mean, it is a good substitute, but there's, again, when there's substitutions, it's like, why not do the thing that you know is going to yield the best results if you have the opportunity and time to do so. So I'm using buttermilk today. We're going to go 2 cups buttermilk. And if you guys want this recipe, just look on my Make Ahead Smash Cake video. It's all in there. It says all-purpose flour. You can use cake and pastry flour. No big difference to me. Okay. Now again, we're not going for large cake mass. We're going for height. So this doesn't look like a lot of cake. I'm hoping to get an 8-inch. Possibly a small 6-inch slab. And then a 3-inch and 4-inch out of this. We shall see. Okay. I don't know why I got 2 sets. So basically, I'm thinking the formation of this mystery cake that you guys don't know what I'm doing is going to go like this. This. And then like this, and then thingy here, and then like this. Again, you guys have no clue what I'm doing, but in my head, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's hope that we can fill all these. I'm gonna give it one final whip here. Again, with my cakes, I really don't whip a whole lot. It's a little bit more than a cookie dough. Like with a cookie dough, it's just mix until combined. But this is mix a little bit so you get this nice texture, ribbity, velvety texture, but not too much, right? There's lots of lumps in there still. Alrighty. Sorry that I'm not answering your questions on the spot here. My laptop is mad at me because I didn't charge it, rightfully so. Okay, let's see if I can get on here. Okay, while we're doing that, let's get the parchment. I'm very haphazard with this. That's gonna work. You'll notice I have a deeper pan here. This pan, I would honestly like to throw it in the garbage, but I'm not super wasteful, so I'm going to stick with that. If I were to go back, I'd get pans that were this deep. Let's get on here. Going to you guys so I can see your comments. My apologies. Okay. Here we go. Let's talk to some people first before we do this. Hi Lori, nice to see you. Hi Sarah. Hi Tabitha, so glad you're here on a live. That's awesome. Got my first cake order and was wondering if I should lower my price. Absolutely not. Rochier, is that how you say your name? Sorry, nice to see you. Miriam, do you have any tips to make Swiss Italian meringue buttercream not taste so buttery? Sometimes I find that using the salted butter does give it more of a, this is going to sound weird, but kind of like a steak flavor. That only happens when I don't whip it enough. But if you're finding constantly that you have that, I would try unsalted. Hi Tamika. Hi Gabby. Hi Leah. I'm so glad that you guys are feeling inspired by my videos. Hi Kayla. I made a cookie dough cake yesterday. It was delicious. That's awesome. All right, guys. I think I'm all caught up now. So, these cakes right here, these cake pans right here are my favorite. But I will say they give me that nails on a chalkboard feeling where, you know, you guys know what I'm talking about. Like when my nail slides against this. Even holding this right now is a little bit of a stretch for me. It's like that feeling. But they bake so evenly. And as I've been buying more and more cake pans, I've been going to the bottoms that can come out. You just get you have to use way less cooking spray or whatever it is that you're using. All right. The only other one, and I don't need parchment on the bottom. I don't use salted butter. Maybe I just have to change the butter I use normally. Quite possibly. Like your videos gives me lots of inspiration. So nice to have you guys here. I know it's been a hot minute since I've gone live. Yeah, stuff with my son was just so rough for a little bit there. Like seriously guys, even if you don't have children, I'm sure you can relate, but that feeling of like when they're saying, oh, we're not going to rule out cancer or any other long-term illnesses, it is honestly the worst thing that you will ever experience to hear that. I think it's almost easier to hear that information about yourself rather than your child or a loved one even. But he seems to be doing better and he's not having any issues. So fingers crossed that it was just a really weird blip. And it's one of those things too that happens very commonly to children, but it passes. So that's why we don't hear about it a lot. But it can also be detrimental. So that's why they had to do so much testing there. So thank you to you guys. I know I thanked people on Instagram, but thank you to you guys. Like honestly, being able to make any content during that time, I really needed you guys' encouragement and strength to do that. Like, and I know I was uploading a lot less, but that was always my goal. Like, you guys know, if you've been here for a while, I wanted to upload every day for a year. And that was my thing. And I did it. And I was like, great, I did it. And then now I was like, okay, now I want to move down to a more like reasonable schedule. So I feel like in a weird way, what happened with my son did force me to have to do that. And so now I'm still, you guys can see, I still upload very, very frequently. But occasionally, like yesterday, gave myself a break because I was working on the construction and what this was going to look like. And I've just been spending so much time with friends and family too. But honestly, all of this is a roundabout way of me saying that I really do, I read every single one of your comments. I love hearing that my videos inspire you guys to be creative and do what it is that you want to do. So important. Alright, I am buttering my pans. You can use shortening in this. I like the extra flavor of butter. Again, I say, if this were a taste contest, maybe I'd have, like, just stand on, okay, here's the thing. When Rachel and I work together, we're like magic. And when we work apart, I feel very intimidated by her skills because she does it every day. Like, makes at least 10 cakes a day, I swear. And I do this, you know, not as often. So I get nervous. And she's just got all the skills, you know. You'll be happy to know, though, that I have flipped around my spatula after more than a decade now of not doing that. But on that ganache cake, it was undeniable. If you guys saw my ganache tutorial, those sides, they were good edges. And it's because I flipped that spatula. The last thing I want is for any of this cake to go to waste, so I need to make sure that this is like overly buttered. One last one here. Crisco and Swiss meringue, the thought of it doesn't make me want to try it. I'm terrible at cakes, but I did make meringue cookies yesterday after watching your macaron video. Oh, that's awesome. I want to start a home baking business. What should I make? Oh, I'm sorry, I was thinking American buttercream. Nika, I will get back to what you should make, although I have lots of videos on that as well. American buttercream, for sure, you can add Crisco to that. I have no earthly idea how you upload daily. It's really funny because one of my friends that I used to work with at Happy Cakes, she's starting her channel, and she's amazing. She's young, super young, just graduated, and Cake Legend, if you want to check her out. She's so fantastic. She's gonna be like, she's already talented, but by the time she gets to my age, I'm sure she will just blow us out of the water. But yeah, she's a TikTok star. I think she has like 1 million followers, and so she's moving into the YouTube world. And she asked me to check over one of her videos, and I did. And then she's like, yeah, I don't know how you upload daily. And I was like, you know what? It's all about uploading what you want to upload and not caring. Like literally not caring. I mean, there is a standard and a quality that I like to keep, but it's all about just do what you want. In my, not old, but I would say that I'm older now, and one thing that I've learned about life in general is do what you want and what makes you happy, because literally you will never make anybody happy. No matter what you do, no matter how high quality your content is, no matter how great you make your cakes, whatever in life, that is the advice that I can give you that is always going to remain constant. Nobody is ever going to be pleased all the time, so you might as well just do what you want without judgment. And who are we to judge anyway? All right. Really getting the butter in here. I am going to be baking these cakes at 325. That's a big thing. One of the big things that I struggled with when I first started baking is that I would always do it at 350 because all the recipes say 350, even for deep pans and things like that. But you're always going to, or at least in my ovens, you're always going to end up with burnt tops and overcooked sides. And then you have to end up shaving off all the sides, and then that's just no fun. So I like to go 325, a little bit lower, a little bit slower. And then you will be fine. You should make sure you have lots of pictures of what you've made. I'm lactose intolerant and don't know what kind of frosting to make. Do you have any ideas? Definitely you can use vegan butters, which is basically like a vegetable oil based type thing. Where did they get the small baking pans? These are Fat Daddy-O baking pans. Let's see. I started doing 325, much better results, definitely. Yeah, hopefully, Gabby, you can use that. I'm not lactose intolerant, but dairy definitely irritates me if I'm stressed. All right, gonna wash that butter off my hands. All right, spatula time. I hope that when the school year starts, I can continue to stay on top of this. I mean, I did it all last year, but it was a lot of sacrifice. And I wasn't really able to see people back then, but I don't know what's going on with the world. I'm sure we're all like, what is going on with the world? All right. I think the one thing I miss is going to the gym. Nobody asked what I missed. I'm just sharing. That's one thing throughout my whole YouTube channel. Like, I used to be a huge gym person. I was training for figure skating again, and then everything went down, and I just haven't been back. Because I'm unsure of the situation. All right, so we want to build these 8 inches. And even though my sides are higher in my other pan, I'm doing it the same for now. And we'll see how much I can build up in a minute. So I always, whenever I'm making things, I try to go bare minimum first, and then I'll go back in and fill things up a bit more. So if you guys are local, these cakes that we're making are going to be given away to local people. So if you guys are in British Columbia, you could be eating this cake in like a matter of days. Judging is tomorrow, so we're hoping to ship these off pretty fast to whoever the recipient of those cakes are. And I'm doing my cakes fresh because I know that judging could take a bit longer, so I want to make sure that we give these the best go possible. Oh, a figure skating video. Gosh, I was doing doubles before, but I have not done a double jump in a really long time. Are these not the cutest pans you've ever seen? These are so small. But I was sick of cutting down like 4-inch cakes to make mini cakes that are even smaller. So these are going to be perfect. And you guys know I'm going to be starting my bento channel, so I want to do like some bento box cakes and stuff there too. A little crossover. Okay. Now I can go back and I can fill these just a bit more. Not too much. Don't want to overfill these. I do want to have a strong enough base though. And these are going to take about 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes to actually cook all the way through. I will remove some of them a little bit sooner. Alrighty. Do you guys have any guesses as to what these are going to be? Let's get these into the oven. You can see how I filled these. They're not super full. I would say it's like up to here. You do want to make sure, like I used to go half, and you just get the shortest little cakes. So you want to go just slightly 3/4, maybe slightly less than 3/4. And I find that that always gives me perfect cakes. Let's get these into the oven. My oven has been preheating for about 15 to 20 minutes. Really want to make sure that that temperature is where you want it before you place anything inside. Same thing goes for choux pastry or anything like that, all those types of things. I'm not making a carved cake, but there will be elements that are a little bit more interesting than just a tiered cake. 3 inches are so small. Okay, and the rule of thumb is once you close that cake pan, the cake's in there, you want to make sure that you do not open it for at least 25 minutes. Again, a lot of these rules that I tell you guys, it's because that's what specifically works for me. So you've got to find your kind of own little rule, but that's really what works. I'm so happy that so many of you are enjoying all of my bakery videos. I'm just so sad because when I go back to work, I'm really not going to be able to film as much of the bakery, obviously, because I'm going to be teaching. It's always one of those things, like I love teaching, and it's always nice to see like the kids. But it is like, because I've been off on break for 2 months, it's always a little bit hard to go back. Especially because my YouTube channel is like really taking off, so I've been kept busy. Yeah, I'm really excited for the bento thing. I just ordered like tons of bento box stuff. And we'll see, I'm gonna try to kind of go the same format as I have for this channel here. But who knows, maybe the bento community won't like that as much. I have no idea. This is all conjecture. All right, let's bring this. And I've also misplaced my good stand. I don't know where it is, and I'm sad. So I'm working off of a weird kind of stand here. All right, I'm ready to chat with you guys for a bit. And answer these questions. Okay, so I will need to come here. Sorry, just getting set up here. I really tried valiantly to stream from my good quality camera, but it was like, oh, download this and then do this and then put this cord in here, and then by the time I was like, oh, okay, I know what you're talking about, and then I was like, if I don't get these cakes into the oven, I'm going to be late, so. Okay, let's read this. Oh, I should probably take that. I'm always like, is there sensitive information on my fridge? Okay. I'm going to go back and read this a little bit more. The brand of those cake pans is Fat Daddy-O's. It's what I use all the time. I have Wilton pans, and I honestly want to throw them in the garbage. And I don't mean that facetiously. Like, honestly, my Wilton cake pans, they bake evenly, but there's just so much indentation on them, and I'm using Wilton cake pans today as well because it's what I have, but now I strictly buy Fat Daddy-O. I've never seen cake pans that small. Yes, I'm all about these small cake pans, which is not the life that Rachel lives. When making the cake batter, can it be thick? It can be thick, it can be thin. I will say that if you're carving cakes, it's probably thick is what you want to go with. In that particular recipe that I use, which is in my Make Ahead Smash Cake video, if you guys want to know what that exact recipe is, I often swap for butter if I'm going to do a carved cake instead of the vegetable oil. My first live, I'm excited. Nice to see you. Tangy? Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. I feel like that's my whole September, me mispronouncing people's names. Yes, please, I want bento box ideas, for sure. Are you going to make a carved cake? Oh, I already said that. No. A doll cake. Ooh, a doll cake sounds like fun. That is not what it is. Did I decide on a name for my bento channel? No. And it's weird because Sweet Dreams Bake Shop, that was always what I called my company, so it was like a no-brainer. It's not even that interesting. Like Sweet Dreams Bake Shop is not interesting. It's very vanilla, if you will. The reason actually that it's called Sweet Dreams Bake Shop, if I haven't told you this story before, or if you haven't heard me say it before, is because it was always my dream to be a baker and to do all that kind of stuff, so that's why I call it Sweet Dreams, because it's my dream. Again, very simplistic, but yeah, I haven't come up with a good bento name. Again, I do want to connect Sweet Dreams Bake Shop somehow, but I'm not like, oh, that's the only way. Sorry, I gotta set my timer here. Like, I was thinking something like Ari's Tummy or Ari's Lunch or like some lunchbox or something like that, because it is going to be very focused on my daughter. But I don't know. I'm still thinking. I'm real excited. Great. It's time for you. Oh, I missed that. It's time for you to have your own bakery, Ashley. That's if you don't have one as of yet. Sometimes my mind is like, maybe when I retire, I will open up something, but so much hard work to really have a bakery. And yeah. What grade do you teach? Or like, what do you teach? I teach elementary music, so I teach K to 4 music, and then I usually put on musicals at my school as well, so that usually involves K to 7. That's what I teach. I also taught French last year, but teaching music is what my degree and everything is in. What candy thermometer do you use? One off of Amazon that I'm not happy with. I have yet to find a thermometer that can stand up to my gas stove. Yeah, I like, there are some that boast that they can, withstand heat up to 500, but I still find that like there's melting going on. So I say, do whatever works. Doesn't need to be a super expensive thermometer, but what it does need to be is it needs to be digital. When do you go back to school? I go back to school September 7th. So that's when I go back. Thank you. Yes, I love my kitchen. What is the reason for rosettes not sticking to the cake? That usually happens if you have too much icing sugar in your buttercream. It needs to be a little bit more viscous than that so that it sticks. Are they from Amazon? You can definitely find Fat Daddy-O's on Amazon. Yep. I want to start a home baking business. What should I start with? That was a question from Nika. Nika, for sure, all you need to do is go watch, I don't know, the 40 videos I have about that. It's really about finding your passion, making sure that you are up to par skill level wise and that your pricing matches that. I know that that's like a really super condensed version of all of my videos, but if you want to know like in-depth stuff, I really go in-depth as to what I did. My business is Simply Delicious. I think that is so clever. But my name's not Cindy, so I can't steal it. A good name could be Sweet Dreams Lunchbox. Yeah, Sweet Dreams Lunchbox. It's good. It's good. Will you ever go back to selling your goods? I actually think that I would say 98% not. I don't think I would. It's a lot of jumping through hoops. It's a lot of making sure that everything is up to code. And because I had to rent out commercial spaces a lot to make sure that everything was like kosher, it's just too hard. And so different cities to where I live have different standards. So you can actually just like, you don't need to be in a commercial facility. But especially with, 2020, 2021 and all the problems that it has brought, it makes it incredibly difficult for a home baking business here where I live. I came across your channel and had the passion of baking and want to start baking and was watching some of your videos with do's and don'ts and some others that you have. Real good videos, thanks to you. So glad that you're enjoying them. Could you type the name of the tins, please? Yes, I believe that in all of my descriptions of my videos, I always put Fat Daddy-O pans as one of them. So they're definitely in there. I have an issue with when people take the cakes home. I want to hear back, but they really don't spontaneously give reviews, and it's weird to ask. So again, I totally feel your pain. This was one of the, I am very, if I can be transparent, I'm a very anxious person in general. I am very paranoid. I like doing things by the book and making sure that everything is okay. I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily a people pleaser, but when it comes to customers and making sure that I feel that I've done my job correctly, that's really important to me. So what I would always do is I would always send a follow-up, and to make it more normal, to make it not just be like, oh, is that cake okay? Even though I know for a fact that the left hand on that character is a little bit unproportional. So, you know, I always sent up a follow-up. Did I always receive a follow-up? No. Like, some people didn't say anything, and honestly, sometimes that's for the best, right? But I think it's totally fine to follow up with your customers and be like, really hope you enjoyed the cake, I had fun making it, or whatever. Cheers, enjoy your day. Most people, I don't know if this is a Canadian thing, but a lot of people, even if they don't give a full-on response that you want, will be like, it was great, thanks, bye. You know, they're not necessarily going to rave about everything that you did, but at least then you have peace of mind that things were okay. Yeah, it's a hard business. It's a hard business when you're giving away your creativity, your knowledge, and everything, and it's in this consumable piece. It's tough. I feel so much more informed since I started watching your channel, like I know what I'm doing now. Yes, good. When I first started, I felt like I had no idea what I was doing, and there was not a whole lot of information out there, especially when it came to home baking businesses. So that is my intention of this channel. I'm going to be 60 and just started my business last year. I also work full-time, wondering if I'm crazy. Absolutely not. I think that, especially if you don't have young children, I mean, this is the time in your life to pursue your passions and do what you want. And I'm assuming that because you have a full-time job, you've probably been at it a while, so you probably know what you're doing. And I feel like it's really great to have just that little bit of an outlet to do something else. For a beginner, what do you recommend to begin with that's affordable? Affordable in what terms? If you could expand on that, I would be happy to answer that. Yes, shout out to Tabitha. She has literally watched all of my videos. I have over 500 videos, so that's amazing. I started a YouTube channel for baking a few months ago, and I was wondering, filming equipment should I get for my channel? You live with 6 grandchildren. Wow, Cindy, that's awesome. That's amazing. Going back to baking with Gabby, after I was shocked by that, I would suggest that you start off with, again, this is just the way that I do it. There's no right formula. This is just what works for me. I would say that, like, my husband and I, we work great jobs, we make a good living, and we live very comfortably where we live. But even so, I was very, very aware of the fact that I didn't want my channel to cause me to go in debt. Meaning that I kind of treat my channel like a baking business. So I don't spend more on the channel than I'm bringing in. So that was a really important thing for me. So that's why I started off with my phone for so long. So what you want is, obviously you want, and I'm sure you already do this because you've already started, but you want a mount for your phone that's easy peasy. Like the one that I work with is so cheap. I think it was like $15 off of Amazon. So everything that I have in terms of filming equipment, like stands, it's one stand that can both support a camera and it can support a phone. And it's an Amazon Basics. It's just like a regular stand. And that's what I used. And then I didn't use an external mic for a very, very long time. And you guys can hear it. You can hear it from the video quality that I have now as opposed to what I had a year ago. And so then once you feel like, okay, I've built up enough of an audience, I felt like, okay, now that I'm monetized, I've made enough to get XYZ. And then so that's why I got the Sony ZV-1, and I highly, highly recommend that camera. It can do so much, and it also has that cinematic quality. So I wanted a little bit of cinematic quality in my videos, but not to the point of, like, you know, big wide shots and I need a lens that's like this long. Like, it literally is for people like me who are not super tech savvy and I'm not into photography. But as anybody knows, with a caking business, whether you're doing a channel, whether you're doing, oh, weird, sorry, Yeah, whether you're doing a channel, whether you're doing a baking business from home, you need to have some level of photography in general, or else you're not going to be able to sell your product, whatever that may be. So I highly recommend that camera. I think it was $700 Canadian or $800 Canadian. I feel like in the States you probably would be able to get it cheaper. Everything for us is like up here. So it's a good quality camera, light, and it can give you those cinematic shots. It can shoot in 4K, and it can give you the blurred effect. That's what I recommend. And that's it. Like, I'm minimal. I'm all about just keeping things like this. My original filming style was very like tasty BuzzFeed, if you guys watch those videos where it was like quick, and that's why you saw a lot of time lapses in my videos. But my audience, I discovered, didn't want that. They didn't want the quick and dirty. They actually want the long form explanations. So that's why you guys have noticed that I very rarely do time lapses unless it's something that's very specific that needs it. Okay. That was a long tangent. I'm going to answer the rest of the questions. Do you recommend taking orders by call or by text? Always by text, only because I think that if you're not as fluid with speech, you're able to get the information across a lot more clearly, and there's a lot less blurred lines. I myself am very articulate, but I still like to have that paper trail because it's very hard to deny anything. And again, and I say that with a grain of salt. I don't mean, oh, all customers are out to get us. I'm just saying that there are a lot of things that happen with order taking that can be misconstrued. So it's just best to do it by text. Did you used to offer just 2 flavors of cake, and then if customers need other flavors, do you like once you have the flavor example, raspberry, pistachio? I generally did just do 2 cake flavors, and then the fillings I would change. That's definitely correct. Yeah. I use a $200 Motorola phone. It's not bad, not the best, but actually no one knows it's that cheap. Just start. Totally. Just do it. We can't get phones for that cheap, so that's awesome. I really enjoy watching your videos. They're informative. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Kalisha, is that how you say your name? Hopefully. Equipment-wise, I worry that I need to begin with all the equipment and perfect ones that matter. Plus, taking first steps is really scary. Don't worry. Again, yeah, just like the fancy cakery is saying, totally agree. Don't overcomplicate it. She was talking about the videos. But I also think that this is, again, a don't overcomplicate it situation. You don't need the best stuff. I never had the best stuff. I never had the best stuff until much later, is when I started really investing. And even then, it was like really my YouTube channel that caused me to invest more, because I had the freedom to do that. It was like literally a whole extra income with a lot less work than an at-home baking business. So I was finally able to take a breather and go and get things that I really, really wanted. But I really don't think it's super imperative for you to have to do that. You can be amazing with just the most basic, simplest of things. And one of those things, I would say the biggest investment you're probably going to make is some sort of stand mixer. I highly recommend a KitchenAid. My KitchenAid has been working well for me for 12 years. So, that's probably one of your biggest investments. And then after that, it's really up to you what you want to purchase and buy. It's really amazing how much you do. How do you balance it all? This comes with a lot of experience. And it's experience that I can't quite articulate to you, every single little thing that I do, because it's, again, about personal limits. So some people are like totally fine with having 5 part-time jobs and a full-time job and making that work. And some people are only okay with, and I mean your mental well-being, you're only okay with having your full-time job and that's it, or having a part-time job and that's it. So it's really about actually knowing yourself and what your limits are. So as a child, I was in math tutoring. I also tutored other students in math. I figure skated 4 days a week with 2-hour practices. I, did piano every day, and I would practice for an hour and a half a day. Plus, I was like a straight A student in school. So I was used to having a lot of responsibilities, and that life that I remember was actually way more intensive and crazy than the life that I live now. And so I think those tools in the beginning and my experiences in the beginning of my life, all the way from K to 12 and even throughout university, I always worked a few jobs and I went to university full time. I think that those experiences really help shape my ability now to say no to the things that I know are going to stress me out and say yes to taking on my limit. And so now I'm finally, like I mentioned earlier in the live stream, I'm finally starting to say, okay, I'm not going to do a video today, and that's okay. And so I take a break for a day. And before, like when I was doing my, it was interesting because before it was like, nope, I'm sticking to my goal, I'll do it for a year. And I did it. And then after that, I expected myself to naturally be able to pull away from that. But I wasn't able to naturally just do it. And it took a really big life event to make that happen for me. And now, again, it's always a learning thing, right? Like now I'm learning, I need to just take a day off when I don't feel like uploading. And I'm going to spend more time with my family today because that's what's best for us. And so it's about self-reflection and reevaluating. So just because you've done something for a very, very long time the same way doesn't mean that you don't need to reevaluate the situation, see how you're actually doing mentally, and then go forward. And so that's how I maintain balance. Hopefully that answers your question. Do you have customers sign forms for freedom of creativity? Yes. So when I was running my baking business, I would often say, and if you watched the video with Rachel, she also has something similar. So she actually approached it in a different way. So the way that I approach it is if they're like, it's cool to do what you want, I just say, okay, here is the sign, and you're signing digitally, right? Because a lot of these things are over the phone or via text or email or whatever. And I did say, you give me the creative freedom to create whatever you would like. No refunds or exchanges based on that. And of course, I had it laid out a lot better than that, but that's basically what I said. My friend Rachel, who actually owns a bakery storefront, said that she instead would not let it be left at that. Instead, right on the spot, she would tell the customer exactly what it is that she's going to be doing, and then get the approval. So even though it's her ideas, and it's her ideas because they gave her the creative freedom right there in front of her, she's putting down the details and the information so that her staff doesn't have to deal with anything that might happen. Because even, well, I'm sure none of you are surprised, but even when you've signed off on creative freedom, especially in a storefront, there could still be arguments left to have. Whereas when she just says, nope, this is what I'm doing, this, and this, and then that's signed off on, it's a lot less flimsy. Can you please bottle some of your energy and motivation and sell it to me? Yes, Sarah, here. It's so funny because there are days when I'm tired, of course, as we all are. I am not a robot. But even at school, and I never thought that I was giving off that vibe, but even at school, like some of my coworkers would be like, you're so energetic and happy all the time. And I was like, yeah. It's just, and that's the thing too, knowing what environments in life are going to make you happy, and not everybody is going to be as extroverted as I am and as energetic as I am, but I think having that inner happiness just really helps. Like even if I'm having a rough day in my personal life or something, it's interesting. I wouldn't say it's like a mask that I'm putting on. It isn't. It is genuinely like I feel happy in different circumstances, and I'm able to put those issues away and compartmentalize. I think that's what it's about. I honestly do. Beautiful Kate, keep doing what you do. Thank you very much, guys. So hopefully I answered some of those questions. I have something that I need to get going to in about 5 minutes here. So really nice chatting with you guys. Hopefully I answered some of your questions. Huge appreciation for every single one of you. I know that
pretty much all of you that are in my chat right now. I see you guys all the time commenting. I really make it a point to try to comment back when you watch my videos. No formal video today because obviously I did a live stream, and tomorrow is going to be the kickoff voting. So I think that's when it'll open. It'll either open tomorrow or Thursday. So definitely, please make sure that you vote on Instagram. I might also put the vote out on my community post on YouTube. If you're local, if you're in British Columbia and you're in the Lower Mainland, you might win one of our cakes. So definitely go and check that out. I will see you guys later. Bye.